We know their intentions. Even if there was anything good in that church, BBC was never going to broadcast that. How do I know? I know where they are coming from. There is a problem. If you do your study very well, you will notice that if TB Joshua was not black, yes, there would have been things being said against him, but not to this extent. Whatever good a black man does, you have to fight for that story to be told. It's difficult. It's difficult.
The main agenda of the Enlightenment series is to drive you towards the ages of critical thinking, is to inspire you to question your hypothesis. I don't agree with Emmanuel Makandiwa in almost everything else that he does, but that does not mean I should not agree with him when he speaks sense. On this particular segment, he is critiquing and questioning the agenda of the BBC News in regard to their selective reporting approach, especially when they're telling stories or driving narratives about Africa. If you are to look at the history of BBC or any media outlet that is from the West, they barely talk about the good things that come from Africa. They barely portray even our leaders as good leaders. There's no single leader from Africa that has been sold on a global scale by these Western media outlets in good light. They're all labeled as corrupt. They're all labeled as these inferior human beings. So this issue of selective reporting, it raises so many red flags. Even though I don't agree with TB Joshua, even though I believe the testimonies of all the people that came on the BBC documentary, but this issue of selective reporting remains as something that discourages some of us when it comes to issues or documentaries that come from the West. Because if you'd ask a question, why do cases of abuse, cases of corruption, mismanagement in Africa gain more traction in the Western media, while similar incidences in Western countries receive comparatively less attention? This approach of selective reporting creates a distorted image of Africa, reinforcing these negative stereotypes and overshadowing some of our positive developments and the great stories of our African icons, African leaders, of course excluding these bomboclats that you call spiritual fathers. I want you to continue listening to what Emmanuel had to say.
You did your research, if you did it, do your study on the transatlantic slave trade from the Central and Western Africa. You know, it was more than 12 million Africans that were transported to America as slaves. More than 2 million, it's on record, died on the way. 12 million, imagine. And look at the number of the whites that came to buy slaves from Africa. Look at their number. Very few, with few guns. People were being forced on the onset by the use of guns. And our fathers were taken into captivity. It happened early days as they were coming, before slaves could be distributed to the Portuguese and the French, and it was all the British also picking their slaves from there. But when they started, our fathers were being taken by force by the whites into captivity. And as time went by, the responsibility was handed over to a fellow African. It was now the chiefs, the kings, the headsmen, who were capturing their own men and selling them to the whites. People know how to do that best. Getting you to fight your own, to attack your own. It is still there because it's black. We know how to fight each other. Next time they were coming, they were just paying some few monies to the chiefs. and the chiefs would hand over. It was his own people now arresting their brothers and sisters, sending them abroad. That's what they do. They use our own. If it's a trial on any medication, they will not bring it to Africa and they follow and they force it on us. They give it to a fellow African who makes it mandatory. And it's given to everyone. An African is designed that way. You can get him to destroy his fellow brother. We are good at that. We were capturing ourselves and we were sending ourselves abroad as slaves. Black men. Black men. Look at how we attack each other. I'm not just talking because TB Joshua is black. No. Also, even look at the black victims in that documentary. Who has been attacked the most? I'm showing you the truth. There can be 20 white people there claiming that I'm a victim. And you're 5. If you're 5 black women, watch how your fellow black person will single you out, attack you and discredit you again because you're black.
Well, that is a reality check. Need I say more? He has just explained it in a way that should also make you start asking yourself some questions. Why do you hate another brother? Why do you have a PhD? Pull him down mentality. Why? Why don't you want to see your another black brother succeed, your another black brother, black sister prosper? Is it because you hate yourself so much? Because the anger you demonstrate is not because you hate the next black brother or black sister. It's because you hate yourself. You're only projecting how you feel about yourself. You live in this inferiority complex. Because I was also now looking at the aftermath of the BBC documentary. No one touched, no one was criticizing or calling out the white ladies. The main focus from the black brothers and sisters was Bisola, Po Agomo, and Sihle. People were digging up their history. People were trying to bring out anything that they might have done in the past. And they say, no, we can't trust you, we can't believe you because of A, B. We can't validate or consider your testimonial to be legit because you are this, you are that. Another black brother, throwing stones to another black sister, to another black brother. But why did you not touch the white victims? Are you that scared? Do you feel that inferior? You should feel sorry for yourselves. At one point, you should start seeing yourself as equals. But be that as it may, my people, what do you think about the issue that Emmanuel Makandiwa raised of selective reporting by the BBC News and the issue of us blacks fighting so hard against our black brothers and sisters? We have driven this narrative and we have supported the documentary to the max, and it does not mean it did not have loopholes. It had so many loopholes. We just choose not to explore them simply because we have an agenda. Some of us, we run a propaganda against false prophets and we stick to it because we want to bring you out of these shrines. And this does not mean what the BBC News brought out was a lie. This is just us encouraging each other to start thinking, because what religion has done to most of you is to discourage you, to think. The majority of you do not think at all. So I hope one day you start thinking. You open your medulla oblongata and unlearn all the nonsense you have learned over the years and start synchronizing with the truth and start accepting the truth as it is. So let me know what you think, my people, in the comments. It's Mr. PDT. I'm out.